did it! You did it! You murdered my misery!
So, we heard Arrow had been in a Stephen King state of mind. One of the first King adaptations that I saw on the small screen was It. That would forever shape my fears and interests. More horror, less clowns. One series that I don't think becomes much of a conversation piece is Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Yes, we will be taking a trip back to 2006, which doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but was further back than I care to entertain. Nightmares and Dreamscapes existed between Kingdom Hospital and The Dead Zone. I know The Dead Zone was a huge hit amongst all sorts of folks. That's actually one that comes up often when we do these, and trust me, we will get there. I also very much enjoyed King's adaptation of Kingdom Hospital. I remember when I worked at Blockbuster and that was actually one of the DVDs I got to watch before we put it on the shelf for everyone else. After 2004's adaptation of Salem's Lot, TNT decided to give Nightmares and Dreamscapes the small screen treatment. The series premiered on January 12, 2006 with 2 episodes to be delivered back-to-back every Wednesday following. The 8 episodes clocked in at about an hour each. The stories were chosen to showcase the diversity in King's work, which is why they didn't go full-throttle horror. That actually gave me kind of a fun thought. Say a friend asked you to give them 5 of King's stories that would best represent him. What would they be? I wonder what Stephen King himself would choose. Speaking of choices, here are my favorite episodes. Warning, I like goofy Stephen King shit, so that's your warning. Oh, and maybe possible spoilers.
You dirty bird.
Autopsy Room 4. So this is one that did not originate from Nightmares and Dreamscapes. The story first appeared in King's 1997 release 6 Stories, which would be an awesome one to have your hands on since it was limited to 1,110 copies, all numbered and signed. However, if you don't happen to have a copy of that one, then you can easily pick up Everything's Eventual, which also features the story. In this one, Howard Cottrell, a businessman and avid golfer, is out on the green with his bros when he is suddenly bit by a Peruvian boomslang. It's actually kind of an adorable snake, but like many cute things, it's actually quite deadly. It can cause major brain and muscle damage, and you could start bleeding from every orifice. After Howard passes out, he wakes up in an autopsy room and realizes he is very much the opposite of dead.
Please, you can't do this. You can't cut me up. Help me. Don't you realize I can still feel?
Richard Thomas, most famously John Boy from the Waltons, and as Adult Bill in King's It TV miniseries, so brilliantly plays Trell. The journey is enjoyable to take with him, and we experience every anxious and hopeful moment. Watching both of the doctors in the autopsy room flirt and fumble over him is excruciating. Ugh, and the crusty old doctor at the beginning. The amount of idiots in this story is high in volume. The end kills me. You think this is going to be resolved by the hero in the story, Rusty, but when it winds up being something entirely different, you just don't have any words. If you haven't seen it, do me a favor and watch it. It's worth your time. Thank me later. This one is similar to the Tales from the Crypt episode, Abracadaver. Another in the collection, Dylan's Cadillac, a story seemingly inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's The Cask of Amontillado, also deals with premature burials.
Very good. Now you're getting it.
There are mosquito bites on the left calf that look infected.
Keep looking, for the love of God, keep looking.
The road virus heads north. Tom Berenger can play the coolest guy ever or the biggest dickwad ever and can sell you on both. He's excellent like that. In this one, he plays a well-known horror writer, Richard Kennel. Shocker. He runs into a mob of his fans at an event and they are, something else. They hand him homemade fake hands and show off their massive back tattoos. He's far from thrilled at this point. He finds out shortly after this event that he has terminal cancer. His response?
Man plans and God laughs, huh?
Heading back to his house in Maine, another shocker, he pulls to the side of the road after spotting a yard sale. There, he finds a copy of his book, and then a painting catches his eye. He finds out that he's actually at an estate sale of sorts, and the artist who created this bizarre painting, it's his estate sale. The original creator hung himself in his shed with a note pinned on him saying, "Can't stop what's happening to me." When Richard stops to see his aunt, she tells him that he needs to get rid of the painting, but Richard, an avid collector of these things, just shrugs it off. I mean, he found the painting as a sort of kindred spirit, so he's not letting it go. As you may have guessed by now, the painting is haunted as shit. Along the way, the image of the painting changes and Richard wonders if he's losing his mind. The ending kind of leaves you guessing and is mostly in line with the short tale. King crafted this story after a painting in his home that his kids weren't too fond of. He added that the painting in the story is exactly like the one he has at home. This one was adapted from King's other collection of short stories, which we've mentioned before, Everything's Eventual. At the end of the day, I just really stinking love Tom Berenger, and I feel like we could have utilized him better. Just saying. And I have to agree with King, stories about pictures that change are pretty fascinating.
I want you to stay at the Lighthouse Inn tonight.
Richard.
No, please, if you do, I'll be able to sleep.
I'm not afraid of your painting.
I know, just humor me.
End of the whole mess. Well, this one's rather poignant viewing it now. This is the story of two brothers. One of them, Howard, played by Ron Livingston, is serving as narrator. He tells the story of his genius younger brother, Bobby, played by Henry Thomas. It's a pretty standard story of two different siblings until at dinner with friends, Bobby asks,
"Why are people so damn mean?"
Howard replies,
Are we supposed to answer that?
to which Bobby quickly rebuts.
Well, somebody needs to. Pretty soon, too, the way things are going.
Suddenly, you get this rather uneasy feeling. Bobby literally tries to save the entire world with miracle spring water, and as hopeful as one wants to be about something like that, it just doesn't add up as the cure-all he thought it would be. It's all actually pretty grim. This is genuinely well acted, which I figured from the beginning since Livingston and Thomas were starring. King's voice really shines through this one, as you get plenty of his wordplay throughout the dialogue. As you know, this isn't always the case when adapting a writer's work from page to screen, but this one certainly hits all the notes. That unsettling feeling never lets you off the hook even till the end. If you want to see Thomas in another King adaptation, you can see him as the bartender in Dr. Sleep. Battleground. Even though this one isn't my personal favorite, it is a fan favorite which deserves the mention. Silent Small Soldiers stars the ever so stoic William Hurt, who sadly left this plane of existence this past March. Richard Christian Matheson, son of one of my favorite writers, Richard Matheson, adapted the story for the series. The episode immediately hooks you because there is no spoken dialogue between any of the characters, or toys. Hurt plays a hitman who was just hired to assassinate a toy maker. Weird. Hurt goes home and checks his email to find some money was wired to his account. Within a few minutes of the email, he gets up and finds a present wrapped in brown paper sitting in his house. The contents are a green chest filled with little green army men. Before you know it, the toys come to life and start kicking Hurt's ass. There's so many cool callouts and callbacks in this one thanks to Matheson and the direction of another son of a beloved icon, Brian Henson. The Zuni fetish doll for Matheson Sr.'s 1975 Trilogy of Terror makes an appearance as part of the Hitman's trophy collection. There's also this cool moment when Hurt is mirroring Martin Sheen's head in the waterline scene from Apocalypse Now. Battleground's ending is slightly different and longer than the original. Result is still the same though. I like all the stories, but these four are a required watch for me. You know they got a hell of a band as a close fifth. Man of many talents and King frequent, Steven Weber leads this episode about a rock and roll heaven with NYPD Blues Kim Delaney. Special shout out to Christian Smid, who plays Buddy Holly. I'm sorry, but his only other known role should not be Brad from the live action Scooby-Doo. This dude needs the Scoot McNairy treatment. Crouch End is an excellent story and love letter to Lovecraftian tales, but it's one of those that's just better left on the paper. Or quite possibly an idea for Guillermo del Toro. Okay, I left some mystery for you. So now it's your turn to go and buy the set on DVD for $5 on Amazon. No, that price means nothing. It means you get a deal. You can also for sure watch these on the YouTubes. So how does this one end and where is it now? Well, this one was meant as short running, being that it was a limited series. It got decent reviews, many praising the Battleground episode as the best of the bunch. I've seen a few folks say it would be cool to have a part 2, which would adapt a few of the other stories and maybe bring on some others. Night Flyer and Dolan's Cadillac were turned into movie adaptations. We talked about Sorry Right Number as it was one of our favorite Tales from the Dark Side episodes. The Moving Finger had its own episode in Monsters, which Frankenstein's monster himself, Tom Noonan, starred in as well as directed. Chattery Teeth was given a segment in Mick Garris's Quicksilver Highway. Don't worry, there's plenty more, which is why another anthology wouldn't be too unrealistic. But we do the spooky ones this time, okay? While there are several more stories that could be translated to the small screen, I don't foresee this one making a comeback under the same name. Maybe down the line we'll get another anthology show that centers around King short stories, which I'm always up for. What I like about this collection is that it feels like there's a story for everyone. Also, a few not so expected favorites are included in the cast. Is this the best Stephen King adaptation I've ever seen? No, but it does give a little taste of variety from the King Library. I also feel like not a lot of people caught this the first time around. Oh, and hey Steve, if you happen to hear this, thanks for making me hide under my bed for 2 months at the tender age of 8 years old after watching Tim Curry bring Pennywise to life. Then, many years later, actually not that long ago, as an adult making me actually afraid to watch Gage do literally anything in Pet Sematary. You're the best. Until next time, my creepy companions.
seen them. You want to be them?